He came from Earth. He was only 4 years old. He was the son of a diplomat. He was a time traveler and the first ever to visit another world. His name is Jason McRitch. He's going where no boy has ever gone before, to a place called Opposite Earth is What? Now on DVD and Blu-ray.
We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
معمران دقنيش
قديش عمرك؟
4 سنين.
I'd like to talk with you about a special little boy who lives in Aleppo, Syria. His name is Amran Daknish. He and his family were injured during airstrikes in Aleppo during the summer of 2016. Everyone in the world saw him, and even the presidential candidates discussed him. I am asking you to remember him and his family. They should never have had to endure this. No one should. He is safe today with his family, but millions of other children are still suffering in the world today. Remember Amran. Remember his people. Remember Aleppo.
مرحبا، اسمي عمران دقنيش. كان عمري 3 سنين ونص لما ضربوا الغارات الجوية الروسية على حلب. أكيد شفتوني هديك الليلة في سيارة الإسعاف يوم 17/8/2016، واليوم أنا أفضل بكتير. أنا صورت هذا الفيديو عشان أسأل عيلتي شو اسم أمي. إذا ممكن أي شخص يساعدني أنا بقدره كتير. من فضلكم أروني شخص أحضنه زي أبويا محمد الخير، أبو علي، أخواتي رؤى وتقي وعبد الله. أنا لسه ما بعرف اسم أمي، رجاء ساعدوني في معرفته. أحب كل من يهتم بي وما زال يريد أن يعرف كيف هي عائلتي في حلب. لن أنسى أبدا لطفكم. مع السلامة.
This is June Marshall, and the first time I heard this was about the end of April, when my sister and I were sleeping down at the bunkhouse one night and were quite frightened by it and didn't move. I recorded it tonight on the Saniel recorder, approximately 8:45, from a westerly direction, and it then changed on me to an easterly direction and became fainter.
On occasion, an unidentified flying object has been reported by witnesses to be the source of the sound.
At 9:10, the beeping began. Went down to the reserve fence, watched through binoculars, and we did see this thing. Now, it's about the size of the moon, with a small crescent at the bottom that's well lit like starlight. The top is a dark gray mass. It came down through the trees, whatever it was, and we could hear the wind. When it came down, the wind was really gusting, and the trees were just trembling all over, and then the beeping started. And when the beeping stopped, the wind came up high again. It was a calm night to begin with. As soon as it started beeping again, the wind came and receded just the same all the time. And we watched until 1:15, and we had to come back to Calgary.
Now, did the beeping come from the direction of this object, definitely?
Yes, it did, because we'd taken the rifle out and fired into the ground. And as soon as the rifle shot was heard, it switched positions and headed out towards High River.
I fired a shot into the ground, and a few seconds later, we saw this dark object take off through the trees with a flame behind it.
What color was the flame?
The flame was an orange color.
They're going to catch us. Get the hell out of here.
Sometimes the beeping is heard as a radio signal.
I'm Evan Evanson from Taborn in Alberta. Well, we were fixing the highway on highway number 3. I'd taken a girl out to the drive-in, and I took her home, and I didn't want to go through all that mess, so I decided to take 36. I was going down the road, and I noticed that I got halfway down there, and I was looking at my the gauge for the temperature. It was climbing. It was climbing right over to hot. And I couldn't figure it out because I'd never done it before. So I saw this driveway in this field, so I thought I'd pull in and shut her off and let her cool off and just get out and look under the hood and see if I was out of water or something. So I pulled in there all right, and I would just turn the truck off, and I was gonna reach down for the handle and open the door, and I looked out the window, and that's when I first saw it. It was a real light green light to it. I don't really know how long it was, but I could see the top, and it sort of had a dome shape to it. Well, if I'd opened the window, I think I could have touched it. It was about 3 feet from my door, I think. And my radio had been playing at the time, and it sort of faded out, and I got a steady beep, beep, beep sound. And it sort of gave me a funny feeling. I was scared, I think, and I reached down to turn it off. And I only looked at it a couple of seconds, and I looked back out the window. Whatever was there was gone.
Forestry lookout Russell Hill heard the beeping on both long and shortwave.
I've heard this same count myself many times on transistor radio, on both frequencies, on shortwave and standard broadcast. varied from half an hour to 20 minutes. And I've checked with other lookouts and asked about it. They've heard this count, yeah. They've all heard this count on the radios like I have.
Hill also experienced other electrical effects.
And while I was sitting down to eat, my light behind me started to flicker off and on, like a kid would be pulling a cord up and down, shutting the light off and on. I saw this strange light coming, and I turned my own light out then and watched the thing pass to the west of the lookout below me. This machine had passed within distance of me. I could see it quite clear. Make out the one light that was circulating midships, and then it seemed to pause, and as if undecided whether to go north, as it was going in the northerly direction, and then she cut from there northwest, and when it cut to the northwest, it picked up speed, and the light, the circulating green light on the side, stopped, went out. The light on the dome top that was rotating slowly, pulsating slowly, come on a bright white, and a shot northwest, and then it disappeared.
They're going to capture us. Get the hell out of here.
The same week, a CNR diesel locomotive was unaffected, but its radio was rendered inoperative.
My name is William Benwick. I am a locomotive engineer in the Canadian National Railway out of Sarcee Yard, Calgary, and I was on the speed freight train 443 north on October the 12th, 1967. We were called for 2200 out of Calgary, and when we got to north of Alnora, Alberta, on the Three Hills subdivision, making a left-hand curve, and just prior to making a right-hand curve, I noticed a light, a very bright light, hovering over the trees to the east side of the track. I mentioned to the brakeman, Mr. Hilzaback, that I seen this light, and he took a better look at it with me, and it started to move northward in the same direction we were moving. We were moving at a speed of 50 miles per hour, and it was going along parallel to us, and it made a turn to the east, crossing the track to the east side of our train, and started moving back towards us. So we had a very good look at this, which we realized was a flying saucer, and it come right at us at approximately, we were doing 50 miles an hour, and I would say it must have been moving at between 80 and 100 towards us, and it sphered off to the east. I tried to get the tail end by radio telephone, of the tail end of our train 443 north, but our radio had cut out. We couldn't pick him up. At that particular place, when I was calling, my conductor, Jack Cresswell, is definitely not a blind spot, because we've talked to him through that area many times. We went ahead, we must have gone about 10 miles, and we were watching it behind us, and then the brakeman says, "Here it comes again," and it come right up to about alongside of us at about 15 miles out in the sky, and then it kept up with us as we were proceeding northward towards Mirror, Alberta. It kept up with us till we arrived to Alex, Alberta. The brakeman was a little leery of getting off. We had to set a car off at Alex, which was a piggyback car for Red Deer. We set the car out, and it seemed to have stopped. And we had the feeling that it was watching us more than we were watching it, the saucer, that is. But I assumed that, in my own estimation, when it was first spotted, it was about 150 feet, 100 feet, 150 feet above the trees, at about a half a block distance away from our engines. Yeah, being a railroad man, I estimate everything by car signs, car distances, and so on. I would say a good long car length. It had the particular thing that impressed us is such a speed it had. Taking a rough guess, maybe 2,000 miles an hour, something like a rocket when it takes off from Earth, maybe faster even. I was in the Navy, and I've seen many types of aircraft, and I've never seen anything that travel like this thing could travel. And it is definitely a machine. There's no doubt about it. It's not a vision. It's not a cloud. It is a machine.
They're going to capture us. Get the hell out of here.
Lights in my car started to go dim, and the motor started to sputter, cough, die, and happened to look at the ammeter, and I saw that it was pinned against the discharge. I thought there was a short in the electrical system, so I shut the car off and got out and opened the hood. There didn't appear to be anything wrong with it. I spotted this thing, saw this thing hovering approximately above the highway, a little bit off to the side, about 100 yards or 200 yards away. My hair got warm to the touch. It was hot to the touch, not really hot, but it was unpleasant, an unpleasant sensation. I have a copper ring on my left ring finger. It got rather warm, and it was unpleasant to feel. I finally took it off. I have a sterling ring on my right little finger, and it wasn't as hot as the copper ring, but it was still getting unpleasant, so I decided to take that off too. And I noticed my watch getting a little. I have a metal watch band here, and it got warm. It seemed like all the metal around was getting hot. Had a metal button and metal fly in my pants, and they got hot.
They're going to capture us. Get the hell out of here.
It was coming in between number 10 Air Force and the Curry Barracks, and it was flying southeast. And when it came over the construction site, it stopped, and all lights went out.
Mrs. Nora Tebbs had both her car engine and radio affected.
My name is Nora Tebbs. I'm a married woman. I was leaving Calgary on my way back to High River on the night of Wednesday, the 11th of October, 1967. I was reaching the bridge near Alderside, crossing over the bridge, noticing how bright the moon was, with 2 or 3 dark streaks of shadow over it. When all of a sudden my radio cut out, my car lights went out, and my first thoughts were I was stuck on the highway with no lights, and I had to get over to the side of the road out of the way of any traffic which may pass me. I applied my foot to the gas pedal to get over, and I had no motor, no compression at all. Then I looked up to see what was darkening out the moon, as I figured I might have to walk to the service station to get some help. Then I saw this black object coming towards what I seemed to be coming towards the car. As I looked out of my front window, it crossed over the moon and came to the side. It was oval-shaped, and from where I was sitting, it looked long and black, with white, vivid light coming out from the tail end of it. And I watched this thing just spellbound, going round and round the car. And then,
how many times would you think?
I will say it circled the car about between 4 to 5 times. I was just watching, from one side to the other, then across the front of the car. I could see it in clear vision all the time, except when it reached the back of the car, and I couldn't see out around the back of that. And then as it banked away, my radio came on, and the car lights came on. I put my foot on the gas pedal, and the motor started. I don't ever remember knocking the motor into, turning the key or doing anything. It was an experience I'll always remember.
Got that right? Mm-hmm. He's right here. Huh. It's straight ahead, isn't he? I feel his presence. It's new.
That's what I felt when I saw it, that it was male, and that it was maybe
I
Tommy.
can't feel that, but I
And that
feel...
it was maybe Tommy.
No. It's not of this world. You feel it's beyond?
Yeah. I don't think it's somebody.
I don't either. He's familiar to me.
Take my good time, but
This is where we used to play basketball.
Six quavers and Paul. She sent us four quavers.